It's coming.
Oh, my. All I can tell you is I think it's a great time for us to visit the world of sports, don't you?
Let's do it. Good morning, Father Matt Frisbee.
The Sports Roundup. Hi, Father Matt.
Good morning, Dave and Ron. Good to be with you this morning.
Did you see any of that spring game last night, Ohio State, Father?
You know, I saw maybe about 5 minutes in the second half, so I didn't have a chance really to. It was a Saturday. That was a working day for me.
Yeah.
So, but of course, I mean, as we talk about the Ohio State spring game, it's worth mentioning the players from last year's team received their rings. Their championship rings. So that was a big part of it. And then as well, they were at the White House yesterday.
Yeah, right.
And I just saw this, that the vice president went to pick up the championship trophy and not realizing that there were really two parts of it, kind of fumbled it a little bit, and the base of it, I guess, fell to the ground. And Travion Henderson was right there to help steady the bigger part of the trophy. So
I did hear Coach Day said, I rescind my offer for you to be on the team. You're done. Like, you can't even handle that.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we'll see. Of course, I mean, this is how things go. Football always dominates in some regard, as colleges are having their spring games. OSU this past Saturday, and then of course coming up soon is the NFL draft. So that is going to dominate talk for about the next 2 weeks, as it's a week from Thursday, the beginning of the draft. So we'll see what the Browns do. They've got that number 2 pick, and speaking of the Browns, re-signed and brought back Joe Flacco to a 1-year deal. So makes you think that maybe they're not going to take a quarterback at number 2. Maybe they're looking to take another quarterback. Maybe they'll trade back into the late first round. Maybe they're taking a quarterback in the second or third round. Who could it be? Who knows? It could be Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss or Jalen Milroe out of Alabama, or maybe if they go a little later, maybe they're looking at Will Howard. Who knows?
Wouldn't that be interesting?
It would be interesting. So a lot of people are kind of thinking now the Browns might take Travis Hunter, the receiver, cornerback out of Colorado. Who knows? I'm not in the front office for the Browns.
Well, you should be.
Should have been in the last few years. Might have been helpful.
Consultancy,
You might have said, if you were in the front office in one of those meetings, you would say, "Are you crazy?" Like, maybe, did anybody ever think to say, "Are you crazy?" Anyway.
That's right. Well, I mean, certainly bringing back Joe Flacco is just another way in which the Browns, and we think about a couple weeks ago, Jimmy Haslam, owner of the Browns, came out and said, we had a big swing and a miss on Deshaun Watson, and bringing back Flacco this year was also a kind of a way of which they said we made a mistake in not bringing him back last year.
Yeah.
And of course, I think everyone kind of agrees the reason they didn't bring Flacco back last year was they didn't want to make Watson feel as though there was someone breathing down his neck with a quarterback competition. So this year, clearly, they don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something. Look, I mean, the upside is, the Browns are only 10 games away from being competitive. If they could just win 10 more than they won last year, they'd be competitive.
Well, that's very true.
Now, Father, I know you don't follow golf much, but Rory McIlroy finally gets a green jacket, winning the Masters and the Grand Slam. He's won every major now, which he's only the 6th person to have ever done that.
Yeah, that's right. I had someone yesterday, actually. I was out in front of the church and in front of the rectory and ran into some parishioners, and they said, Father, are you going to talk about Rory McIlroy winning the Masters? Actually, they asked me if I watched. I said, I did not watch. I said, but I'll mention it. So here's my, mentioning it. Rory McIlroy won the Masters his first time. Good for him.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say,
that says it all.
I don't watch golf. But I was fortunate enough that I turned it on. I was painting, and I was bawling. I don't mind telling you. 18th green, I mean, first playoff hole. Yeah, it was on the 18th, actually. But in any case, I was bawling my eyes. And it turns out Rory gave all his winnings away. I mean, this guy, he's actually he's really awesome. Good guy, yeah. Wow. And again, I don't follow it, but that was moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I did hear him winning. Was Ian, his reaction? That's what my parishioner told me, was just really a moving thing. The one thing that I heard a lot about with the Masters this past weekend has nothing to do with the actual play on the course, but instead rather the rules at Augusta, the big one being no phones.
Right.
Not only can you not have them out, they won't even let you bring them with you.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. They have this big bank of phone booths. You can do a pay phone, but you can't take your phone. Cleveland Cavs going into the NBA playoffs looking pretty good, Father.
Yes, they are. I saw a little bit of their game Friday night. They were playing the Knicks, and they were without Donovan Mitchell, and they were without DeAndre Hopkins, who's kind of their sixth man. They were without maybe two other guys, and they were down by 23 at some point in this game at Madison Square Garden, and they came back to win. So,
Wow.
You got to think Cavs are gearing up here for the playoffs. Yeah, number one seed in the Eastern Conference, and we'll see what happens.
Well, they're fortunate they're very young, so you have that kind of energy, I guess.
And you got that right.
Yeah, very good.
So, we'll just got to see. You never know what happens in the playoffs, but, them and the Celtics in the East, you got to think are going to really vie for it.
That's right. Well, Father, next week you join us at 7:40 or instead of 8:30, so we'll look forward to that. Have a great day, and thank you.
I look forward to it, too. Yeah, God bless.